Well, hello everyone and happy Tuesday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Tuesday's version of Before the Four. Wherever you're watching Before the Four today, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube or the 48 Now live stream. Of course, as always, I have to give a warm thank you for watching. It always makes my day, that is for sure. But first, let's talk about the weather we're seeing here across the Tennessee Valley today. Earlier this morning, a small earthquake was detected near Mentone. It was a 2.6 magnitude just north of Menlo, Georgia. That happened this morning at 7 a.m. Yet an absolute gorgeous day out there, and the sun looks to stay in the forecast throughout the rest of the week. We have 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis here with the latest. How's it looking, Brad?
Well, as we go through the day today, it's been perfect out there. And we've got probably the nicest day we've had in a while coming tomorrow, a high near 72 degrees. We're in the low 70s now. No rain. We do have a slight chance of rain still in the forecast for very early Thursday morning, and then a brief drop in temperatures as well. Right now, things looking good traffic-wise early on in the early part of the commute. Current temperatures, how about 73 Huntsville? You know what? Looking at this, we just probably will hit 75 tomorrow. I'll be changing that forecast the next 12 hours. Overnight lows in the 40s, maybe some upper 30s out there, but it won't last long. A calm wind and a real nice rebound tomorrow afternoon. Here's your 3-day forecast, 72 to 75 tomorrow, then 59 Thursday, noticeably cooler, but nothing terrible, at least nothing like we've had the last few weeks. And then back up to 63 on Friday, and the start of the weekend looks pretty good too. Again, we're monitoring changes in the weather potentially next week with a chance of thunderstorms by Wednesday or Thursday.
Well, thank you, Brad. And now to Colbert County, where Tuscumbia residents and EMA officials are still working to clean up all the damage from last week's severe weather. 48's Aria Pons with an update on those cleanup efforts.
It'll look a little different here in Tuscumbia for several months, maybe even years, officials tell me, after a tornado came through the city. Now, business owners here in downtown Tuscumbia are slowly opening back up one by one, but some business owners say they feel like it's just not fast enough.
And you're slow in January and February to begin with, after the holidays, and then this, and then the snow.
May, Woody Christopher, and Becky Fuller work at Fiddle-Dee Dee's in downtown Tuscumbia and are a part of the Tuscumbia retail development. They say that the small businesses downtown need the support of the entire Shoals area after they were hit by an EF1 tornado last week.
I couldn't believe. It really brought tears. It was a scary thing.
Much of the city was left damaged, with roofs gone and trees into homes. EMA Director Jody Hitt says it'll take months, even years, to get everything all the way back to normal. He says a lot of debris has been cleaned up already, over 1 million pounds of it, and there's still plenty to clean up. He says the city owes thanks to all of the volunteers that have come in to help. He says there's no community like the Shoals when it comes to assisting others.
One way it's just normal, but other way we're blessed to see that normal after a devastation that we've had, especially in this isolated area.
Most businesses in downtown are back open. However, it'll take a while to get others to open their doors. Superhero Chefs and the Palace are still working hard to fix the roof.
So we're going to get back. We're going to get back bigger and better.
But we'll make it. We're a strong town.
Yeah, we'll do
great
it.
Customers.
Christopher and Fuller both say that the city of Tuscumbia is just as resilient as the people who live here. Reporting in Tuscumbia, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Bigger and better. Love to hear it. Awesome. Thank you, Aria. And now, Friday night, we learned that Decatur Police Chief Todd Pinion will step down from his role. Now, this comes after many in the community and City Council called for him to resign. Originally, Chief Pinion said he wanted to stay in the position, but the lack of support ultimately led to the decision. 48's Callie Neese with more.
After weeks of pressure from the community and city council in the aftermath of the shooting death of Steve Perkins, Decatur Chief of Police announced on Friday that he will be stepping down. Just a few weeks ago, I sat down with Pinion and he told me he wanted to stay in his position, but the lack of support from the community led him to step down. Pinion said in a statement that this was a tough decision, but with a lack of support from city council, it has become hard to fulfill his role. Pinion claimed that people were saying the city would not move forward if he remained as chief. Though Pinion said it was just an excuse, he thought it was the right move to step down. Mayor Tab Bowling says that he will continue to support Pinion.
I admire his decision. I have a great deal of admiration for Chief Pinion. This was tough on the both of us, and there's nothing really that I like about it other than the fact that Chief Pinion sees it as best for the city, and if that's what he believes, then I'm here to support him.
Bowling told me that Pinion will now be taking on a new position as a captain. City officials say that he will be assisting with recruitment as well as polygraph tests for incoming public safety officers. He adds that his experience is needed in their department and they are excited for him to take on this new role.
So we're thankful for his experience. When police departments across the nation are challenged today for experience, Todd has experience that this department needs in serving as a captain.
Bowling says that Pinion will not be taking a pay cut for this new position and that he will remain as chief of police until an interim chief can be put into place. And that search for the new chief has already begun. Reporting in Decatur, Cali News 48 News, on your side.
And also on Friday, on the same day he was sworn into his role, FBI Director Kash Patel directed for 500 FBI agents to be transferred from Washington, D.C. to Huntsville, Alabama. After the decision, surrounding cities outside of Huntsville are expecting a housing boom in the area. 48's Nick Ballinger with more.
With help from the thousands who work on Redstone Arsenal, Huntsville has grown over 38% in the last 15 years. And with FBI Director Kash Patel transferring 500 more FBI agents from D.C. to the Rocket City, the growth won't stop anytime soon. Local realtor Whitney Stringer says the housing market will see effects almost immediately.
We've been a little bit behind for a few years and we haven't been able to keep up with it, but we're at a good point right now. You know, we're currently sitting on about 4 months of inventory at the moment, which historically is a seller's market. So if we get a big influx, it could shift over pretty quickly.
This won't just affect Huntsville.
All the surrounding communities, I think, will see an influx. But it's really a big scattering, right? So I think most people that are coming in are looking within 30 minutes to an hour of work, wherever that work may be.
One of those communities is the city of Athens, where Mayor Ronnie Marks is hoping will be a destination for new federal employees.
I would say that we're prepared, but we're always preparing. You know, our biggest challenge right now and our biggest opportunity is both growth. We have the opportunity to try to deal with the growth, and the challenges be how do we move traffic.
Athens has grown 21% over the last 3 years alone. Marks says the city already has 8,000 to 10,000 residents who commute to Huntsville daily.
And we pretty much all spin off of Huntsville. I mean, Huntsville is got so many opportunities for people.
Marks points to the area surrounding Buc-ee's off I-65 as one area that will boom over the next 10 years. He says with transferring FBI agents and the possibility of Space Force, this area could see more growth than anywhere in Athens.
And now to celebrate Black History Month, we're shining a light on Marshall County's first black student athlete, Butch Looney, the first black athlete to play football and basketball at what is now Guntersville High School. 48 Savannah Sapp with his incredible story.
The old Guntersville High School, once Marshall County High, is now vacant. Butch Looney would walk those halls, taking the steps to become the school's first black athlete. But Looney says living in the 60s as a black student was hard.
Went to the movie theater. We had to set up in the balconies, and the white people went downstairs, you know.
Looney spent a majority of his school years at Lakeview School, the only black school in Marshall County. That's where he found his knack for sports like football and basketball, his true love. Looney says equipment was lacking for the kids from Lakeview, so he and his friends had to learn the game using anything they could find.
And take a tree, cut a tree down and put it in the ground and put a goal in the backboard and put it up. And I think that that was good for us. If we can put that round ball in that square crate, you know, you was doing something.
Looney attended Lakeview until his sophomore year when schools were desegregated and many students transferred to Marshall County High, originally an all-white school. With his love for the game a priority, Looney wanted to join the varsity basketball team, but transfer students were not allowed. After what he describes as a red shirt year, Looney says a coach finally allowed him to join. Looney would become the first black athlete in Guntersville High School history.
It was kind of trying at times, you know, but I always just would just being me, you know. I never hardly changed.
Looney says there were times he faced discrimination due to his skin color, but he says his mother played a role in helping him through it.
Racism will be here to the end of time. And it's been over 50 years since she told me that, and racism is still here.
After becoming a star in the game, Looney would graduate in 1969 and continue to make history as the first black athlete to receive an athletic scholarship at Athens College. In 2007, Looney would be inducted into the Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame. Now, his legacy lives on through his grandson, Trayvon Avery, a star basketball player for Guntersville High. Looney says he continues to pass down wisdom from his mother so that his children and grandchildren can achieve greatness.
If you start something, you're not gonna quit. Or anything come up in your life, get a little bit hard, you start quitting. So I wanted them, like she taught me, to fight through, have that perseverance to fight through.
Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
A living legend without a doubt. Now, coming up after the break, we'll check in on 48 sports director Carl Prather. He is at the high school basketball state tournament inside Birmingham's Legacy Arena. Sports gambling here in the state of Alabama. 48's Margot Gray will let us know all of those details. And of course, I gotta shout out some of my favorite responses today from you all on our 48 Facebook question of the day. It's all ahead. I'll see you all in 1 minute. Well, hello and welcome back to Before the Four. Now let's talk about gambling here in the state of Alabama. Residents know good and well that there is no state lottery, but states that do have one, such as Tennessee, are currently seeing a decline in lottery sales. But one thing is on the rise: sports betting. 48's Margot Gray tells us all about it.
Sports betting has exploded.
People feel the lottery is much more of a crapshoot than sports betting is.
These days, there's not a commercial that goes by without a lure to wager your hard-earned money on a sports matchup. It's an emotional and exciting pull people like Tenarius Hilliard understands well.
You can watch the games, and there's an additional emotional investment in those games. So there's an adrenaline rush that comes with watching a basketball game and saying, oh, I need this guy to score 20 points. Oh, I need this guy to get 5 rebounds. So it's more excitement as opposed to getting a scratch off or waiting until the 5 or 6 o'clock news to see what numbers are.
With an $18.4 million decrease in lottery ticket sales from last year, Tennessee lottery officials may have to agree. A Tennessee Lottery spokesperson acknowledged the decline, issuing this statement to 48 News. The Tennessee Education Lottery continues to look for new ways to increase sales, which have been impacted by sports wagering. The same scenarios playing out in states like Florida and Massachusetts. But for sports betting, it's a different story. We're coming off a stellar showing with the Super Bowl. Americans wagered a record $1.3 billion legally for the big game, according to estimates from the American Gaming Association. Alabama couldn't ante up. A statewide referendum for a lottery was voted down in 1999, and since, lawmakers have tried and tried again to get a bill through and have failed. A decline in lottery sales only bolsters an argument UNA Associate Professor of Economics Jason Imbrogno painted in his study, Gambling is the Wrong Way for Alabama. It was sanctioned by the conservative think tank, the Alabama Policy Institute.
And so what you see states do is they legalize the lottery, and the revenue goes up, and then as it starts to go down, they go, oh, let's legalize casinos. And revenue goes up, and then it starts to go down, and then they go, let's legalize sports betting. And guess what's going to happen? States end up relying on this very unreliable revenue source, and the problems that are created from it stay long term.
He says those chips end up falling on problems like bankruptcies, financial crimes, domestic violence, higher rates of suicide, and poverty. He says the ratio is stark, with a problem gambler having the ability to impact 6 other people.
And the negative aspects of gambling end up hurting more people than just the problem gambler.
And then when you combine smartphones and sports betting,
smartphone gambling is the apex predator of gambling legalization. You combine addictive things like gambling with the addictive nature of smartphones, and it just creates a tornado of problems.
The problem few affecting the majority argument falls flat for Hilliard.
We're missing out. So even whether you do it through a bookie or you do it through some kind of underground means, it's still money that's not coming towards the state.
Well, now let's talk about some high school hoops, and who better to talk to about that than our own sports director, Carl Prather. Carl is currently at the high school state tournament in Birmingham's Legacy Arena as Tennessee Valley teams look to advance to the state finals. Earlier this afternoon, I checked in with him to see how everything is going. You've been at the 3A semifinals all morning. It's been a jam-packed morning. How's it all going out there today?
What's up, AJ, man? I'm glad you're bringing me in, man. I love Before the Four. It's been awesome. The big thing for so many of our student athletes across North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley, opportunities to potentially kind of extend your season and potentially win state championships. And obviously that's what we have here down in Birmingham, here inside Legacy Arena, as the state basketball finals got underway on Monday. It's been an amazing week thus far. So Monday we had our Class 1A and 2A teams in action. Today is our 3As and 4As, and you mentioned it, AJ, for our 3As. Been some highly competitive games here. We've had a reigning state champ advance. That's the Mars Hill Bible boys. They're advancing to Friday's state championship game for the 2nd straight year. So congratulations to them. The Sylvania girls currently in action right now in Class 3A. They're taking on St. James. St. James is based out of the Montgomery, Alabama area as well. And then, of course, we had plenty more coming up later tonight. We have a pair of our 4A teams, the Plainview boys and girls, in action as well tonight. So it's just going to be an exciting time. But yeah, our 3As, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can have another representative from 3A at Sylvania can come away with a victory against St. James at the half. Right now, St. James at the moment leading 33-23. Of course, we'll have highlight sights and sounds from this contest and many more coming up tonight throughout our day here from Birmingham.
Right. Yes, sir. You love to see it. Can you recap the past few days, 1A and 2A? A lot of the different Tennessee Valley teams currently still in the tournament to represent the Tennessee Valley heading into the final.
Yeah, absolutely. So yesterday started our coverage and opened the week that is the state basketball tournament. So our 1As and 2As, for those that are new or familiar with our area in high school athletics, got underway yesterday. So we have 7 classifications within the state for high school basketball. The way that it works is that we have 4 teams, boys and girls, that reach what we call the state semifinals here. But you're all lumped in as with the state tournament this week. So basically the final 4 teams within your classification, boys and girls from 1A through 7A, make their way to Birmingham for the state tournament. So in Class 1A, we had who actually reached the state championship a year ago. And Oakwood Academy fared very well last year before falling in the state championship in Class 1A. This year, the team had an opportunity to try to do just that again this year. Took on RC Hatch. Unfortunately, they failed RC Hatch, but give Oakwood Academy credit. They trailed by 11 heading into the final frame, but came away with the big win. Came away with the loss there yesterday here in Birmingham. And then Class 2A, we had a couple of teams in action as well. So we had the Pisgah Lady Eagles, who are a staple, AJ, in our area, reaching the state tournament. And they indeed advanced with a big win yesterday as well. So we have a lot of teams in action across the board for us this week. And it's really cool to see how many teams have made it. I just want to make sure that I'm not leaving anyone out. Yep, and I did. The Decatur Heritage Girls. So we're going to have an all-North Alabama final for our 2A Girls State Championship. So we'll have a representative from the North that will bring home a state title. So Decatur Heritage in the state championship for the first time ever will take on a perennial power and a staple within the state in Class 2A in Pisgah. That'll happen on Friday. As you mentioned, unfortunately, section advanced yesterday in the semifinal. They fall in a tight contest early on. Tuscaloosa Academy got the best of them. So ultimately, really good day throughout for my area teams. And as I mentioned, heading in today, we have 5 more teams in action that will end tonight in our nightcap at 7:30.
That's right, and I do want to touch on Plainview. You mentioned it earlier. What can we expect in those 2 contests later on?
Yeah, that's a great question. Plainview, the girls will tip off roughly around 6 p.m. tonight. They're going to take on Trinity, and then 7:30 the boys will wrap it up. They'll take on Fairfield tonight in the nightcap in Class 4A. So both of these 2 programs consistently make the finals, AJ. Both of these 2 teams, the last handful of years, have been to a ton of state championship appearances. The Plainview girls, especially the last 5 years, they've reached the regional final, and they're 3-2 now, reaching the state basketball tournament. They're tonight going to take on Trinity. That's for the Plainview boys. They're also back. You know, it's been an incredible run for the Bears for the boys. They've had 3 coaches in the last 3 years for them. Robbie Coker now the head coach over at Fort Payne. They had the actual girls coach for Plainview helping out this year, and last year, and then they have a new coach here as well. So regardless of the coaching changes, they still find a way to be highly successful and competitive, and now they're here in state. But expect 2 things from both of these 2 respective programs, the Plainview boys and girls. Expect good defense, expect a lot of threes being thrown up. And if they can connect on a handful of those threes, watch out, they could be a serious threat to bring home respective 4A state basketball championships.
All right, well, time will tell. I'm super excited. Before you go, Carl, we got to get a final score, or not a final score, the current score for the Sylvania game right now.
Yeah, that's a great question there, AJ. So this game, as you just heard the horns, we're in the 3rd quarter, heading into the 3rd quarter after the halftime there. Sylvania trailing 33-23. They actually were down 16-3 in the 1st quarter. But Sylvania kind of got their proverbial sea legs under them and knocked out a ton of threes. And before you knew it, they were up 23-22. St. James has kind of extended the lead and kind of found a way to knock some buckets down right before the half. So they're leading by 10. We'll see if Sylvania can come away with the victory and rally back from a 10-point deficit right now. We will have you completely covered coming up later tonight in our 4 o'clock afternoon show on WAFF, our 5 p.m. show 6, and of course a complete wrap-up of the day that was coming up tonight at 10.
All right. Well, time will tell. Definitely rooting for the Rams there. Hopefully they can get it done. Carl, thank you so much. Awesome, and make sure to stay tuned for our evening newscast for the complete recap, as you just heard Carl mention, of everything that transpired today in 3A and 4A. But now let's head into the stories that you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And that was one of them, the full recap of everything high school hoops. The finals are coming up soon, so that is a story you're just not going to want to miss. But also the ongoing pharmacy walkouts we're seeing from pharmacies all across the state. 48 Savannah Sapp will be bringing you details from Rainsville coming up. Another story you're just not going to want to miss, a new local law in the works after this tragedy of Taylor North. She was a Circle K clerk who was shot and killed in Harvest. 48's Callie Neese will have those details on the new piece of legislation. And finally, covering the court on day 2 of a Huntsville man accused of shooting and killing his neighbor. 48's Faith Delp will have all that you need to know coming up. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And now it is time for our 48 Facebook question of the day. The question was, of dog breeds you've actually owned, which breed do you consider to be the best? And I have never actually owned a dog. It was my parents' dog, but we owned a Yorkie Poodle and a Maltese Yorkie mix. We like Yorkies in our family. And I don't know, I think Yorkie maybe just the Yorkie. But let's see what you all had to say. Emily said a Basset Hound. The best personality she's ever seen from a dog is her droopy-eyed, long-eared, sweet and sassy Ellie. And she sent us a picture of Ellie. So adorable. Emily, thank you so much. Jessica said Dachshunds. There's 2 sleepy Dachshunds right there. Another photo. Awesome. Thank you so much. Without a doubt, love my German Shepherd. Yep, and there he is right there. Gotta love it. Beautiful dog. I love German Shepherds as well. Golden Retrievers. Just one of the best lover boys on the planet. And look at them. They're just looking up. He's like, give me some food. I need some food right now. That is awesome. Casey, thank you so much. And then Rebecca said a Schnoodle, the best boy in the entire world. And he just looks like a little teddy bear. He looks like someone to cuddle up with, without a doubt. Rebecca, thank you so much. And everyone who commented on today's Facebook fun, our 48 Facebook question of the day, thank you so much. But that is just about it for today's Before the Four. Thank you all for sticking around this Tuesday afternoon and just spending a little bit of it here watching Before the Four. If you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 digital app, the 48 First Alert weather app, and the 48 Sports Zone app. Turn on those push notifications and you will never miss a breaking news story. With that said, that's all the time I have, but as always, thank you so much for watching, and you all have a great night.